It is a move that sends shockwaves through Washington that, quite frankly, has already been rattled by waves of firing by President Trump during the nearly 7 months he's been in office. The president fired the commissioner of labor statistics after weaker than expected job figures, saying, "We need accurate jobs numbers." Trump writing on social media, "She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes." Joining me on the morning show, William Stier, an attorney and CEO of the Partnership for Public Service. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Max.
Thank you for having me.
Any doubt in your mind that Donald Trump is firing the messenger because he doesn't like the facts, and they are facts? And what does this do to the credibility of the U.S. government?
No doubts at all. And, Senator Moynihan is famously quoted as saying, "You're entitled to your opinion, but not your own facts." Unfortunately, this president would like to have his own facts as well. There are no questions that at least today, those numbers are accurate. I think we all need to be worried, however, that not only is the credibility of the United States data being called into question, but the ability of our government to be able to provide those facts in a credible way going forward is being challenged right now.
You've already answered the question, but I want to go back to this and reinforce it. The president claims the numbers were rigged. Is there any chance they could have been manipulated in any way, in your opinion?
Not yet. And I think the problem is that we do need to worry about that in the future as the president attempts to put loyalists into all the jobs in our government rather than those that have competence and capability. We are looking at a government that has been degraded. There have been lots of firings, as you noted. The Bureau of Economic Analysis has lost 20% of its workforce. But you still have people there that are there for the public good rather than for the partisan interests of the president of the day. The process that is involved in putting those numbers together is pretty clear and transparent. I think we can be confident of those numbers, but I believe we should be worried both about that future capability of our government to do this right, and equally important, the ability of the rest of the world and businesses to be able to trust those numbers. We have a president that is undermining our public infrastructure in a very real way.
So taking into account what you just said, Mr. Trump said he wants to put someone in there that he can trust. When the next set of labor statistics are made public, will there be any reason to question their integrity?
So again, I have a lot of faith in the resilience of the career expert, nonpartisan civil service. So the system today requires those civil servants to be putting those numbers together, and the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics is given those numbers, does not have an opportunity to change those numbers directly, has the ability to influence the narrative around what those numbers supposedly mean. But I think the pressure on civil servants is real. You see this not just at the BLS, but across the board. You just did your weather forecast. If you recall from the first Trump administration, the president argued that a hurricane was going to go into a different trajectory than all the professionals had to say. This is worrisome. We have a tendency to get desensitized by the constant attacks on expertise in the federal government by the president himself and those around him. That is not a good thing. It's bad for our country. It's bad for our economy. It's bad for our safety. It is not how leaders in our government should be behaving.
Yeah, you're talking about the Sharpie incident. Overall, is this a five-alarm fire? And is the president causing international harm to the integrity of U.S. economic data and the entire statistical system?
So I do think it's a five-alarm fire. Look, I understand that everyone, again, is desensitized. They're tired of being told that everything is being burned down. The reality is it is actually happening. And as you note, it's not just in our country, but relevant to the entire world. We're competing against China. We're competing against the European Union. And one of the things we've competed very well on is the quality of the data. People knew that when we put out information, they could trust it. And that is being called into question by the president himself. I think back a long time ago to Baghdad Bob, when the Iraqi government was claiming that everything was right as the American troops were coming in. That's what you have when you have an authoritarian administration. We don't want that. We've not had that in our country. We should not want it now, and we need to stop it.
Some people say, if you look at moves over the past half a year, attempts to rewrite history, this firing, trying to compromise the independence of the Fed, things have taken an Orwellian and even authoritarian turn already. legitimate concerns? And if so, what is the recourse?
I do think they're legitimate concerns. And again, I think there is the risk that people start tuning it out because they are told that, the sky is falling all the time. I think people should be worried. Your question about what the recourse is, number one, people need to pay attention. They need not turn away, even if it does look ugly. They need to speak up. They need to share information that they're getting about what is happening with their peer groups. And ultimately, they need to hold to account the politicians that are in charge. We need members of Congress. We need, the president himself to hear that this is not what the American people want. There is actually important room to improve the way our government operates. That is not what is happening right now. And we're going to lose a lot if we don't change direction.
The 2026 midterms are coming up. We know what's happening with the redistricting fight in Texas, may happen here in Florida. People need their voices to be heard. Max Stier, thank you.
Thank you.